Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of DoubleBit's Workshop. In today's video, we will be doing an unboxing of the Dewalt 20v Brushless XR Axial Blower. So stay tuned. The unit designation for this package is the DCBL 722P1. So the P1 stands for basically that it comes with the battery and charger. This is the 5 amp that comes with the charger, which is a super nice kit. On other units that you may see in the store, the B designation, numbers down here at the bottom, designates for the bare tool setup. So the price difference between the two is, this tool is currently on sale for $167 before tax. If you're to buy just the bare tool, it is $125 before tax. So for about 42 bucks, you're able to get the additional battery and charger, which is a nice introductory if you are not in the Dewalt family and have any batteries or chargers prior to owning this tool. Alternatively, if you already do have batteries, as we all know, it takes a second for batteries to charge, so having multiple chargers is a very nice thing to have. Or if you need multiple locations for charging stations, one in the garage, one in the shop, or just one in a tool closet. So the designation for the axial that is in the axial blower, since this is just a basic leaf blower, means that the fan on it is actually in line with the actual tube supplying the air. So you get no loss and you have no angles or directions from your actual fan motor going through a tube down to the blower. So it's able to give you maximum performance for what the battery is able to output. But before we get too much further into any of the details, let's do the unboxing. So when you first open the box, greeted with a little pamphlet, this is the cordless manual. Gives you a few designations for the different types of battery packs. There's a couple different renditions of this that you can get that come with additional tools, but if you're just interested in the actual blower itself, with the chance of getting either the pack that I got that comes with the battery and charger or the bare tool, are the primary two for this review. And that is all that's on the first sheet. Since this uses a wireless battery in it, it gives you a certificate for wireless interfacing. Batteries do still lightly put off a wireless signal, so that's just kind of a certificate letting you know about that. The kit also comes with kind of a reducer or a focused jet attachment that goes on the end of the tube. So this is actually really good for pushing into any of your corner edging. So if you have compacted leaves, debris and stuff around your edge work, bricks, any kind of rocks or anything like that that have kind of impacted debris into them, this is good for focusing and doing just a single little cut line into it rather than a general sweep, if you will. We have the large tube that hooks on the front of the unit. And the top part here, we have the charger, which is their standard charger. Sadly, it doesn't come with the speed charger or fast charger. Those are yellow. We have the 5 amp battery. This one comes with a single bar of charge. Makes sense for shipping and handling and also just storage. It at least has the initial charge on it, but it will need charge before use. After that, we have just a little cardboard insert here, followed by the unit itself. So the unit itself is actually very light. On the inside of it, you can actually see the outside part of the turbine engine, or the axial fan rather. But it kind of looks like an axe, basically like a turbine. You have the bottom stand on here, so that way it can sit up, as well as you have the handle, which is very iconic and similar to pretty much all the rest of their tools, just with a different designation on the front of it, but the controls are pretty much the same. You have a variable switch, and you also have a lock position that will lock in whatever position you lightly depress or fully depress, so that way you don't have to consistently hold it and get pulses as you're moving around if you accidentally are letting go of the trigger at all as you're making your sweeping motions. At the bottom of the box, we have a minor warranty. So product is shipped with addendum, defines to start the warranty period. So basically this just gives you an understanding. You have a barcode on it, so if you want to utilize any of the warranties that come with the unit through the manufacturer. Otherwise, most of the time it's usually just a good kind of rule of thumb to hold onto your receipt and get, I believe it is 1 month through Home Depot itself. Some cases it's 90 days. So kind of make sure to check on your local listings and see if any of those have changed if you're really interested in that. Otherwise, you can also purchase an additional warranty through Home Depot or whoever you purchase the product through as well. Next, we are able to see that we have the actual manual itself. On the back of it gives you the same designations as the sheet of paper to begin with, letting you know which model this is and what comes with those model numbers. Which this information is good if you are actually calling about a warranty of any kind. They're going to ask which one of these models that you purchased, which designates if you had the battery with it or without it. A lot of times if you do actually have to call on and use the warranty, they will send you the identical product, even if it's just the blower that breaks down, and they'll send you a battery and charger with it if you had purchased that to begin with. Designations for letting you know what each part of a diagram is of the item, and kind of just a general runabout of basic ideas and things that you can utilize to make the tool run a little bit better. There is some good information in here, but a lot of it's just kind of basic onesie-twosie information that you would understand just looking at the product. And it's also given to you in multiple languages, so that's why it's so thick. So that is all for the unboxing portion of this video. One thing that isn't necessarily huge benefit, but it does help a few people, is it's worth keeping and holding onto the box, cardboard, and everything inside of it for at least the first week of use, or at least the first 5 times using the unit. If anything goes wrong with it, if you have a box, it's a lot easier to do an exchange or a flat return for the product to any of the stores that you may have purchased it from, big box stores. If you bring in just the tool without the box, they do a bit more investigating. They're a little bit less likely to make the exchange easy. You bring the box in, they're able to see the items that are supposed to be in the box are there. They just hand you the money and you're good to go. So as for general setup of the tool, you have a little notch on the bottom, hooks in, make sure that you're able to read this as it's standing upright. Unit pressurizes in until you hear a click. That's how you know it's assembled. To attach the front, you have 2 tabs that press inward. They match up with the holes. Same thing, push in until you hear a click. Nothing super crazy about that. To install the battery, goes at an angle, slides in, and latches. Unit is about 8 pounds before you add the battery. So depending on the size of battery, you get a little bit more weight, but it is nice because it actually balances quite well with the battery. So you're still at a downward angle, it's not facing upward due to the weight, and therefore adding extra strain onto your wrist. And there's the assembly with the charger. So even though the battery isn't fully charged, we're still able to actually get it to use. Little trick for you is just hold the pressure on the switch down halfway. Engage, and that way you're able to actually extend the life of the battery.
Oh, fickle breeze, you were the fleeting guide, but now a greater force stands at my side. With fiery breath, the blower sings its song, a gale of justice, fierce and strong. They scatter forth like dreams I cast away. No more shall chaos in my garden stay. Ah, feel the surge, the thunder in my chest. Nature yields, I rise above the rest. Spirals dance in airborne frantic flight. I carve the path with the roaring winds of might.
Alrighty, so I've been using the Axial Blower here for probably a couple hours now, and it's been doing me great. I really do enjoy this kind of focuser little attachment on the end there. The actual just baseline opening does a really good job, clearing a lot of different debris. The attachment on the end of it definitely does kind of narrow it down a little bit more, kind of focus it. The kind of little turbo end there where the air hits it and then kind of cone shapes it out is noticeable enough in the debris. It is pretty good close up. Farther away, it kind of doesn't really do the same kind of pattern to it. It ends up being more of an X when the air kind of hits and clashes and kind of disperses. So that end is more kind of like good essentially for about the 2 to 3 feet from the nozzle. Anything past that, if you're trying to like move a lot of loose dirt, doesn't really help so much. So it is still beneficial to be able to remove this. I was kind of hopeful that there'd be a little bit of a cheat with the flex volt battery, but because of how the technology works on the larger flex volt battery that I have, 6 amp hour, it still just turns it down into the baseline 20 volt mode. So I get about the same amount of time as I do out of this battery. That being said, it is roughly around 20 minutes. Doing a little bit of a trick of kind of holding this down half, I was noticing, because I charged it a couple times and cycled out some of my other 5 amp batteries, it's consistently around like 22 to 23 as an, well, we'll say average, not consistent. You get a couple extra minutes for kind of throttling it a little bit. And of course, if you're not just holding it down for 20 minutes straight, you get longer time in between actually utilizing it and kind of doing little pulses, kind of, if you will. That all kind of helps to give it a little bit more longevity, get you to kind of clean a larger area with it. That being said, it is a wonderful tool. I'm definitely happy to have this in my arsenal for just maintenance around the house, cleaning out dust out of the workshop and cleaning out debris and stuff out of my garage, keeping all the leaves and dirt and other things that kind of fly up, little rocks and pebbles, what you will, out of the driveway and off of some of the concrete we have around the property, and cleaning off the back porch. For that, this little guy will do me perfectly. I'm not trying to do super long, huge landscaping job. That's kind of where I'll say a little bit of a parallel for like a pros and cons. If you're restricted to 20-minute intervals and you have to have a fleet of batteries consistently getting charged, I'd say this is something that's for a homeowner. It's definitely not something I'd use in a commercial grade. Commercial standing, you could use this for incremental cleaning up a spot for like finish up piecework around a windowsill, different areas of whatever type of industry you're in for cleaning out your truck, things like that, great. But for a commercial grade leaf blower, there's a reason that there is a higher tier commercial grade. This is light to medium duty, cleaning up your yard, property, a little bit of your shop, stuff like that. This will do you just fine. The one thing that was a little bit goofy, having the axial blower on the side here, I noticed as I was doing my sweeps, every now and again I'd let it get too close to my shirt, suck against it, or my leg. So having it on the back is great for wind. You got to get used to having it consistently off to your side instead of letting it go in front of you, which if you're kind of like leaning up against the house or something like that, you'll naturally kind of have this come in front of you. And that's kind of a little bit annoying. I did find myself, oddly enough, using this part as a handle to kind of get up and around things, or up and above for parts of the house. So that definitely works out good, and it's nice and light. Hopefully that helps and will help you to kind of decide if you actually want to purchase this in the future. Thank you also very much for watching. Hopefully this gave you some ideas on if this is a good tool for you, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure and hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want notifications each and every time there's a video that comes out to the channel, make sure and hit that notification bell. Thank you all so very much, and have yourself a wonderful evening.
In roaring breath,